Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm doing a review on the TC32 Mexican-made precision boxing mitts. So check it out. Hey, what's up guys? Carlo here, and today I'm doing a review on the TC32 Mexican-made precision boxing mitts. But before I do the review, if you're looking to learn boxing, or maybe you have a New Year's resolution to get into shape, make sure you go check out JT at Precision Striking. He has a fantastic channel here on YouTube with over 1 million subscribers. One of those subscribers being myself. I've learned a lot from his channel over the years, whether it's boxing fundamentals, conditioning drills, more advanced boxing technique. He really has something for everyone on his channel, and now he offers different membership levels with member exclusive content. So if you're looking to take your boxing a little bit more seriously, a little bit further, then I think it's worthwhile for you to check it out. I'll put the link in the description box. Now back onto the review of these TC32 mitts. These mitts retail for $127.50. They come in multiple different colorways. I'll put the link in the description box, that way you can check it out there. As well as on their social media, like their Instagram, they do have different colorways you can choose from. And like a lot of the other smaller boutique brands, these mitts, just like their gloves and their headgear, it's kind of like seasonal when it comes to like the different colorways. So if you're not interested in like this white and kind of olive green colorway, they do offer other colorways and styles that you can choose from. This is a micro mitt in the sense that I feel like this is a perfect mitt to be used for precision work. So if you're working on reactive, counter-punching, defensive drills, or speed work, to me, this is the perfect mitt for that. Dimensions-wise, it's about 8 inches in height and about 6.5 inches in width, with this pretty solid diameter in the middle. But of course, you can see it has kind of that horseshoe look where you're really centered on punching and making sure that you're placing your punches in the correct spot. These are handmade in Mexico with full genuine leather construction. And quite frankly, these have become my coach's favorite mitts to use. Tommy, who you probably see in a lot of my videos that I'm doing the mitt work with and my conditioning drills, said he loves these mitts. In fact, I'm actually gonna give these back to him when I'm done with this review video. That way he can continue to use them. And you can see that he's used them quite a bit, more so than some of his other mitts that he has part of his rotation. And just depending on who he's training that day or the type of work they're doing, he uses different type of boxing mitts, but I think he likes to gravitate to these a lot more than some of the other ones, just based on the comfort and the feel of these. So full genuine leather construction. You can see the quality on these are really nice. They've held up well. I mean, you'll notice that there's some wear, which is normal because that is the strike surface. But that green and white leather has more of a satin finish to it and not a very shiny leather. You do have the plastic TC32 patch on the back of the mitt. It does have kind of sharp edges. It would have been nice if they maybe beaded that around, or maybe went with a cloth patch or embroidery rather than a plastic patch. Not to say that that's going to be really detrimental when you're training, because you're going to be getting someone punching the surface of it. But if you decide to work on defense and you try to maybe flick at somebody and have them block it, and they don't block for whatever reason, this might end up hitting them in the face and you might end up cutting somebody with that plastic. So it'd be nice if they went with something other than a plastic patch. So you have that. You also do have an adjustable wrist strap right here to really lock it in with Velcro, with a metal piece right here. So I like the fact that they went with metal rather than plastic, because over time plastic ends up cracking, or if you pull on it too hard, it'll actually break the clip off. So I like the fact that they went with the metal ring right there. You'll notice that it is enclosed, or it's hooded, so you don't have an open finger type format. Sometimes there's the, I guess, I wouldn't say complaint, but a lot of people that have longer fingers will complain when they use a hooded style of mitt, because their fingers will jam at the very tip right here. And talking to Tommy, he does have a little bit larger hands, and he said he had no issues with his fingers being on the inside here. So the actual roominess accommodates your fingers really well. So just to kind of show you guys, and obviously both mitts are identical to each other. They're not handed, and when I say handed, meaning that these are ambidextrous, so you can use left or right. It doesn't matter which one goes on which. And you can see that the Velcro on both mitts goes the same direction, which for some people that doesn't matter, but some people prefer to have, you know, the left hand where the Velcro goes to the outside so they can close it that way. And then on the right hand, the same thing where they can kind of close it this way. But because the Velcro on both go the same direction, you end up actually pulling it one way rather than the other. So that's just something I noticed in terms of direction. But again, either mitt can be used on either hand. So if you pick these up off the corner of the ring, you don't have to sit there and be like, oh, okay, is this for the left and this for the right? You can use them for either hand. You'll notice that it does have that TC32 logo, made in Mexico, on the strike surface, and it's actually held up well. I mean, you can imagine how many thousands of punches have been landed on there and that logo isn't peeling or coming off. So that's a very good indicator in terms of just the logo sticking to the palm of the mitt. So that looks really good. You do have the laces at the bottom that encloses the foam padding. The foam padding on here is about 2 inches in thickness, and it's a really dense foam padding. And you can see it's a leather on the inside and leather on the back. It does have this little tongue at the bottom that covers the hand. I wish this tongue on here was a little bit more rounded. You can see how it kind of comes down. It should have been, to me, a little bit more rounded, because what happens is sometimes when you put your hand in here, the tongue will kind of get jammed in there, just depending on the position. You'll see how it kind of folds up if you're kind of in a rush to put your hand in there. So it would have been nicer if it didn't have that big kind of lip on it and it was a little bit more rounded off. So every time you put your hand in there, your hand just slides right in. You'll also notice that it has a very big palm cup right there. I wouldn't even call it a ball because it's not really round. It's almost like I want to say plateau. It has a flat top to it. So when you put your hand in there, I actually like the feel of that compared to more of a rounded ball, because with this, you can really grip your fingers around it. And if you're working with somebody that has a good amount of power, you won't have to worry about them hitting this and this mitt flying off of your hand. So I definitely love that palm ball being a little bit more definitive and having edges to it rather than it being just completely round. And that's a feature that Tommy likes as well. You'll notice that the actual surface is a little concave, so it does have a little bit of an insert into it, so that basically, or curvature to it, so that when you're holding the mitt, maybe even in an upward position for a jab or a straight, you can see that it has that curvature, so you're guaranteeing a good land and feel for the person that's punching it. Me being the puncher on these mitts, they feel fantastic. You get a good amount of crack and feedback out of these. They're not the most protective mitt, so if you're somebody that's coaching for a lot of years now, maybe you have, you know, wrist, forearm, or shoulder injuries, or someone that has dealt with that, and you're dealing with a lot of pro fighters over the years, it does not have a wrist rest there, so you have to be mindful if you're dealing with any kind of injury. You might have to kind of hunch in while you're holding these mitts. Otherwise, you'll definitely feel the shock of the punch come through on these. Another thing about these mitts that I really like is just the density of the foam they use on here. You can see it's much more dense, and you get a good amount of pop when you land into these mitts. And that's probably the best feature out of these mitts, is the amount of feedback you get from these, from both the coach and the person that's hitting them. So overall, I'm very satisfied with these mitts. You can see that they've held up very nicely. Other than being a little dirty from being used, I mean, I have no complaints in terms of the quality. The stitching is held up very nicely. You can see all the edges look really good on both mitts. You know, the logos have held up really well. Velcro strap. If I were to change anything with these, would probably be that plastic patch, and then this little hood piece, this little tongue at the bottom. Change that to where it's a little bit more rounded, so when you stick your hand in here, it doesn't just drag it in with your hand. But overall, I'm very satisfied with these, and Coach Tommy, he's definitely satisfied with these. He loves these mitts. So if you guys have any questions or comments, make sure you guys leave them down below in the comments box. I'll put the link in the description box where you can find these TC32 precision boxing mitts. I'll see you guys later. Take care.